Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock podcast,
where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlennonsmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as hypertrophic cardiomyopathy and no stridamus and yes stridamus. So I'll try to temper my terminology to a simple one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Dr. London, you have been keeping our listeners on the edge of their seats all week.
I know. Everyone's pumped.
Yeah, this is our Valentine's Day special. And I think what a great way to kick it off is to hear the story of how things went with you and your crush this last week. For new listeners, maybe if you missed the last episode, Dr. London was finally going to use some of his art of seduction techniques that we discussed last week to finally win over his crush's heart. Yeah.
So my crush, as it turns out, and this is something like kind of a no duh, but she does have a father who has a gun, and he's kind of traditional in the whole, like, you have to ask me first to ask her out or to give her $20 or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I showed up to her house. Apparently also a big no-no, because I did not we're work friends a little bit, but not like good work friends. So
you hang out where she works.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're work friends. Yeah, not my work, but her work.
Yeah.
Friends. So anyway, I did follow her home, and I've been casing my crush for a while, and that's what it's called. It's called casing, not like watching or being a creep or whatever, or stalking. It's like a heist.
Oh yeah, was Sherlock Holmes stalking people when he was, trying to snoop around and get clues?
Yeah,
no.
trying to ask out his crush. Yeah. So anyway, I go to ask her out, and so that's how I ended up in it was like county jail for the last week. I was threatened.
Yeah.
And then
she's playing a little hard to get.
Yeah, and her dad's playing like super easy to shoot me in my body. So that combination.
Yeah.
It's just,
wow, he shot you and they just kind of took you off to county jail.
Honestly, I'm on their side for this one. He made a pretty good case for why I was the problem there.
It sounds like you said. I assume you walked up to the front door and just rang the doorbell and was just a normal interaction, right? You're leaving stuff out, Dr. London. That's I can tell there's something else.
Yeah. So I decided to up the ante a little bit. I think in part because I was so excited about the bank heist, and I was still wearing stuff from. Sorry for listeners who missed the last episode. We talked a little bit about a bank heist as well.
To win a woman's heart, you need $20, and to do that, you've probably got to rob a bank. That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah. So for this, for my crush, I did wear bombs strapped to my chest, and mostly because that was my work outfit for the day because I was going to heist a bank. And of course, once her dad saw the vest and also heard me threatening to blow them up.
Oh, okay. You were saying, right. Yeah.
Well, just my lines.
Well, it does make sense because when you're robbing a bank, you wear bombs around your chest is it to blow yourself up? Is it a terrorist thing?
Well, it's a fashion thing, I think, unless I'm way off base. I thought it just people who are doing bank heists or hostage situations, they're gonna wear this kind of trendy little I don't know. I love that it has like all these compartments to it.
So you see this as a fashion accessory, but you still were telling this woman and her father like you're gonna blow them all up, and
well, yeah, that's my lines for the bank heist. So I just I was rehearsing them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to make it a whole thing, but I just don't look stupid when we get to the bank. You know what I mean? Like line, you know. So
I mean,
anyway.
So did you win your crush's heart, Dr. London? Is that a still, or is that TBD?
I think it's hard to say. I know like through what happened there, I'm not sure if the house is still there. And I'll say it felt uncertain. Uncertain is how I feel about the whole situation.
And I'm guessing if the house is there, you're not allowed within maybe 500 feet of it.
I would not feel comfortable asking at this point.
Yeah. It's some number and you just want to move past it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't want to have to measure. I don't know how practical it is to go about measuring that. So anyway, that's kind of what happened with me with my lady over the past week or so, but I'm pretty excited still for the day.
Yeah, you guys are moving forward, getting a little serious, it sounds like. I mean, there's not really much more serious than, threatening the lives of each other and sort of going to jail and stuff. Can
I say she's not the only fish in the sea? So.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Super occupying, but
because of the dad as well, or
well, okay. I'm not into that, but yeah, maybe a little, yeah. I don't want to. We're too early.
I get what you're saying. You felt a little bit of a charge and energy when he was pointing his shotgun at you and you were threatening to kind of blow them up in a murder suicide.
I've never felt that way about a guy.
Interesting.
That feeling that I had.
Yeah.
Never felt it. It's kind of like I don't know what to do with that. Is that I remember when we're teenagers, people would say like, "Oh, I never felt this way." Well, it's because your body's changing. For this, I know my body's changing, but I don't know if it's because of the explosion. So,
yeah, anyways, that probably has something to do with it.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of what's been going on with me. What about with you? I know that you were uninvited from a lot of things for Valentine's stuff.
Yes. So, it's sort of a funny joke that my wife does every Valentine's Day, is that I make reservations at a restaurant and then she finds out about it and calls the restaurant and says, we've been separated for many years. This is, just go ahead and cancel the reservation. And it's kind of been our tradition. That, and then I get really, really drunk. And I run over her mailbox with my car.
And this reminds me of my tradition. One of my traditions is there's this girl I've been dating who she says she's always having to cancel this appointment on the day whenever she wants to go out, and then she said oh, my ex is gonna drive over and damage the property. Just try not to mind him over much.
These psycho exes, you know what I mean?
I know, man.
Move on.
Yeah. But anyway, that's great to hear that you've almost managed to have a date with your wife. It sounds like you're almost there.
That, definitely depends on your definition of almost.
Okay.
But I think there's a lot of flexibility with that word. So I'm going to say yes. True. I'm going to agree.
Okay. All right. So that was our producer, Cameron. Also with us is Did You Know in the House? And we're just pumped because today is the Valentine's Day extravaganza. We try to make light of it, honestly, is where we're at now with a podcast.
It's such an established thing that every year this is the 10th annual. Jock Podcast, Valentine's Day, Spectacular Extravaganza, Fun Zone. And we kind of go all out for it. But it's become kind of a joke to us because it's just like we didn't expect it to get this big and this popular. Like, we're just two guys hanging out, and, like friends just joking around.
Yeah. Oh, please. We try to make the smallest thing, but like this is the time of year whenever people tend to check in and be like, hey, here's how my relationship, we met through your show, remember? And I'm like, oh yeah, we didn't mean to do that. But yeah, no, that's over time. We have done a lot of game shows through here and a lot of dating shows, and we've kind of mixed and matched people. So anyway, we're going to check in on some of those relationships later. A lot of them have been, not reciprocated, and they're us liking someone else, but we're pretty excited about that. And
we're going to answer some of your questions. Some of you had some like love and relationship questions. We're going to hit those up. And then we're also going to give you just a few date ideas for your boo.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And boo, right. We have some distance from Halloween. I was just going to, there could have been confusion there. But we should be good. But before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. So for a long time, the listener demographic was primarily composed of, now they weren't undead, but they did seem dead tired, our old listeners. But in our efforts to cater to them, we found that we were neglecting the many bot accounts that download our podcast. So this one comes from TikTok. This is a comment on our response to my podcast is doing great in East Asia, and they're waking up and listening to their commute. At Mandaring said, quote, "Can you suck it?" End quote. So thank you so much for this feedback. And so I guess we're going straight into the relationship questions. For me, I will not suck that. Like if we're in a car or whatever, I won't suck the pacifier you're offering me because I do want the one that's wedged between the car seat.
I just find it infantilizing, I guess. Every car I get into, people are just shoving pacifiers down my face and being like, suck it. And I'm like, I really don't see what you get out of this. Like, it's mostly your friends, by the way.
Well, they I guess they know me because, like, I do want the passy. I just don't want that passy. Like,
you don't want the one that's like slightly out of reach, yeah.
Or just some, like, yeah, I want one that we're going to have to stop the car and mom and dad are going to have to get out. One of them's going to yell because, like, they don't want to stop. And then I'll say, Mommy, could you help me with it? Because it really is stuck right in between. And my fingers are kind of stubby.
Well, and you're still learning sort of just basic dexterity. Like, you're trying to, just holding on to things is still...
Oh, please, yeah. And so Mommy first tries, and it like takes her enough time, like over a minute to kind of get in there, that eventually Daddy gets really upset, and he's like, "Look, we're gonna be late for the movie.
Yeah,
we're gonna miss it."
And I totally forgot.
Like, we're past the previews.
I just totally forgot that your friends that we've been hanging out with that are always shoving a pacifier in my face they're your parents. And they're my parents too. Huh. And it's us. They're usually taking us to like the trampoline world. Yeah. Yeah. And so he was saying the trampoline world, the movie Trampoline World. Yes. And so he was saying like, we're going to miss the movie Trampoline World. And so he pulls over and he gets to the back and like, we're both really wanting that passy, right? But then the trouble comes up. He digs out the passy, and now both of us want it, right? So thank you, listener. So
thank you so much.
Yeah,
hope that answers your question.
We don't want to suck that one.
Now for today's medical topic: hypokalemia. So hypo means less than or lower, and kalemia refers to the amount of potassium in the blood, just like Ka on the periodic table for potassium. Hypokalemia, then, is the state of having lower than normal potassium levels in the bloodstream. Potassium is essential for proper neuromuscular contraction. So hypokalemia can lead to problems with muscular contraction, cardiac conduction, Muscular abnormalities can also be so severe as to cause rhabdomyolysis, so which can actually cause hyperkalemia. So it can be a pretty involved thing. So potassium can shift into cells via alkalosis. Basically becomes, instead of too acidic, it becomes too basic. There's from increased insulin, from beta-adrenergic stimulation, accelerating the sodium ATPase, sodium potassium pumps. And the renal loss of potassium can happen through the use of medications such as loop diuretics, through increased aldosterone with endocrine disorders, or through licorice. That can cause the loss of potassium. And then when magnesium is low, magnesium-dependent potassium channels in the body can open up and spill potassium into the urine. Renal tubular acidosis can cause hypokalemia, as can gastrointestinal loss.
You gotta plug the banana tree now. This is where you say, and Jock, say it. Jock is proud to announce our genetically modified bananas.
Genetically modified bananas. Yeah. So we do have this
with extra potassium and extra mush.
Yeah, it's extra potassium. Yeah. So we do have this product introduced, and it's twice the bananas in half as many of the bananas is the tagline for it, right? Because we squeezed
twice the bananas, but half the amount of bananas.
Yeah, because we squeezed one banana at another banana, basically. And so it's like kind of whatever of that goop.
I don't want to get into the science of it just because, trademarks are still pending.
Right. Okay.
But let's just say that it is sort of the ultimate banana, and you can only get it from the Jock podcast.
Yeah.
So sign up for our Patreon and then just shoot us a message let us know how many bananas, these sort of super bananas that you want, Jock super bananas.
And then we'll figure out how to make it happen.
And then we'll make it happen, and you will never have to, what is this, lack of potassium disease or whatever?
Hypokalemia.
Yeah, so it'll fix that.
Yeah. And once again, it can be caused by stuff like vomiting, diarrhea, laxative abuse. So to know if you need this product.
Licorice abuse.
Yeah, and licorice as well. Clinically, patients with hypokalemia will present with weakness, paralysis, and a loss of reflexes. So, you know how the doctor hits the knee with the reflex hammer? That won't be a thing for this. So they'll hit the knee, but it won't do all the jumpies. And then for EKG findings in hypokalemia, once again, it's muscles. So U waves are the most characteristic EKG finding of hypokalemia. They're also going to be ventricular ectopathy. U waves it's QRS is the boop sound, QRS, and then there's a TU potentially. So there's an extra little wave it'll do if it's hypokalemia. Treatment is to restore potassium level and manage the cause of the hypokalemia. You can replace it orally by mouth through our banana, way more bananas into the half as many bananas. And there's no cap on how much or how fast you can give that oral potassium. So you can actually eat as many bananas as you want, even.
Well, and this is actually something that I wanted to get to, Dr. London, is that we have found via studies through our in-house statisticians, the Jock statisticians, that every single listener to this show is lacking in bananas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so once we derived that,
especially the super bananas, you got to push the super bananas.
The super bananas are even better. Why? If you need a banana that's going to eventually find a way to eat its way out of you, then by God, we've got it.
It's a metaphor. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, sorry, it does say a metaphor in parentheses. I guess that was just implied, though.
Yeah, and just now say it's double the banana for half the banana.
It's double the banana for half the banana.
Or in half the banana.
It's double the banana in half the... halfsies for dubsies.
2 bananas for every half banana.
1 arrow, double vulture.
Yes.
Okay? And then it's also important to note, so that's eating it, if you're doing IV replacement of potassium, it actually can cause fatal arrhythmia if it's done too fast. So like it'll kill them. So like you have to do that more slowly. So best to eat it from us. Okay, and now it's the critical point. We've got to talk more about this. So, romance.
Guys,
it's the Valentine's Day Spectacular.
It's the Valentine's Day Spectacular. We're here to talk love, romance, sex, butts, and
yes,
pubes.
Yeah. So, I'll say like
funny word. Oh man.
Which one? The Valentine's?
Just all of it. Spectacular. I mean, just everything is really
that is pretty
going.
Yeah. So I know for me, in preparing for this big celebration, I went to the beach looking for those beach bods. But because for me, I find it to be really attractive whenever a female person will work out and like stay fit through going to the gym and stuff.
Oh, you're one of these sick freaks. Okay, I've heard about guys like you. Okay, I've heard about this kind of stuff. Yeah.
They get kind of I guess like the low body fat percentage, and then they'll be on the beach and they'll wear less clothes even to sort of show off their physique. So
Dude,
I went to the beach.
Sick. Okay, I've heard.
Yeah.
I think I've seen some movies about stuff like this before, but I didn't know you had that dog in you.
Yeah. But so I went to the beach, and it is February, so it was pretty cold there.
Right.
Not a lot of people. Certainly no one like wearing so little as what I was kind of looking for. So
did they let you drive
this year?
Did they let you drive your car on the beach this time?
They didn't catch me this time.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I went pretty. Well, I did get stuck. I know. I did get stuck. The car got stuck.
Oh, I bet you did. I bet it did.
Yeah. And then there was a nice woman who came along to help me get it unstuck. And then she when I got sick from all the stress of it, she patted my back, and then her boyfriend pulled up on a motorcycle, and he was so cool.
Oh man, you sick freak.
So
you a dirty man. Just really just really sick and disgusting kind of preferences and kind of lifestyle you're living.
Kinks. Yeah.
But I think
so. That's me.
Yeah, I figured this would be a good opportunity to answer some of our listeners' questions about their relationships and their love life. I have a few right here.
Oh, pretty okay. Yeah, let's hear it.
One. This is from our listener Chompton. They ask, my partner keeps watching our TV shows without me. We agreed to watch together. Do they hate me? Is this betrayal? I want to thank you for this question. If your partner cared about you, they would be watching you, not TV shows.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any person I've ever dated, I've required that they watch me watch TV.
Yeah, that's right. And it can be tough because sometimes if you say you travel a lot and you say, well, we are watching this show together, what you have to do if you're the woman in the relationship is to wait until the guy comes back around. If you're the guy, you're going to do whatever you want.
I'm going to invite other girls over and then be like, watch me. And it's not not like an arrogance thing or something like that. It's literally for my own safety. I get too into the TV shows, and so I start kind of flailing around and kind of like excited. I get excited. And I will fall off the bed and bonk my head without a little assistance. And so there's a reason for it.
Which is why I've actually started a separate service for monitoring for accidents caused by sort of your Valentine's Day escapades, because it's become such an issue. You want to be watched so much and you invite so many people to your house to watch you, that it has just really the fire brigade's been all over you, the fire marshal, because your house gets too crowded, you bonk your head, and then you complain at work the next day.
And I do go to HR and complain. They usually don't have a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
They say, Cameron, you can't just come in here and just talk about like stuff that happened at your house. That's really not what we do.
Well, they say that until you sit down and say, watch me.
Oh, and yeah, and they don't even do it. They're on their computer clacking away. Meanwhile, I'm flailing, about to fall out of my seat because I'm getting so excited at how fast they're typing.
Yeah. And like, they are so fast.
It's fast and funny. But listener, Chorbo, all of this to say, yes, your partner is betraying you. If they loved you, they'd be watching you watch TV. And so, next question here. Hey, Jock Doc Bros, if your partner says, do whatever you want, is that a trap or an actual green light?
If it happens at a traffic light, that's tough. Because then if you're talking to the street, who's the guy at the street who tells you which way to go?
He's the president of the intersection, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So if the president tells you you can do whatever you want, and they are at the stoplight with you, then I would slowly ease up and start to do whatever I want, I think. But like, honestly, like I would take it slow.
I mean, I think it's just all in the question of, is that a trap or an actual green light? I think you should be approaching every green light like it is a potential trap. So, for example, you pull up to a red light, it turns green, you see a person walking their grandmother. Let me think. Is that normal? No, that's a damn trap.
Yeah.
Get out of there.
No, a lot of people don't even have grandmothers.
You turn and get out of there because that's a trap. And so, yeah, I would say when your partner says or does anything, or even if it's not your partner, and again, it's just some guy walking his grandmother, that's all a trap. There are no green lights in life. Like, I hope people understand that. There is only traps.
There's nothing safe. There's nothing good quite. But this does bring us to sort of the next, there's an aspect, because we get some listeners asking about whenever they Freaky Friday their family members, or they parent trap their family members, and they have to sort of manage these difficult interpersonal relationships within their family. I know we have one listener here who's asking about, okay, when you've managed to Freaky Friday with your parent, how do you deal with like just basic, kind of like what we're talking about, romantic getaways and such? Because like, you don't want to be that way with, say, if you're the kid, to be that way with your father, or to be, do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah, so in a Freaky Friday situation, like, how do you handle all of the romantic getaways you're going on during this body switching time? I mean,
because you don't know when it's gonna stop. It might not be temporary. That's the thing. Yeah. You don't know that.
I'm gonna say, honestly, trust your instincts, and by that I mean, anytime I've Freaky Friday'd with someone, I spend the whole time sick to my stomach, kind of vomiting.
Is it like, because I know, I mean, because your dad does work at the Ipecac factory. Did it have anything to do with that where he would take the?
Yeah, and I'm in their body, and they can't handle. I'm immune because I take so much of it. So I'm in their body for the day, and so I'm just vomiting, throwing up. I feel sick. And so the idea that there would be any sort of romance going on it's kind of out of the question, unless that's like part of your relationship or whatever, is like throw up stuff. So,
okay. I thought you were saying if the romance was part of the relationship, but no, for you, if it's vomit, that's a part of the relationship, then yes.
Yeah, then you'd have to come up with a new idea. But yeah, I just say go with your instincts. For me, that's drinking Epitech. And so I'm already in the clear in terms of avoiding romantic getaways because of the puke.
For me, if you're going from older to younger, if you're becoming your child, you can finally just live your life without mistakes. So I would just leave the house.
Yeah, I would say if you're in the body of a child, you probably don't have to worry about going on a romantic getaway with anyone.
Yeah, well, unless you're dating someone.
It seems like it was a situation that would only happen the other way around.
They might be on a date with some high school sweetheart.
Yeah, and again, you're gonna be puking just so much. So whatever dates were scheduled, this is like the movies are the movies. Freaky Friday's a movie.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have time to be playing guitar at like a school talent show because you're gonna be puking so much. Just the whole thing is disorienting. You're drinking so much.
And by the way,
stuff.
the puking and everything, that's going to give you hypokalemia, today's topic. So, like, people don't always realize this. Every time we teach on something, it's going to relate directly to the guest or whatever we're talking about.
Yes.
Some people come...
This is why you got to... the newest numbers from DJ Dylan, you need to double down on the super bananas that Dr. London and I are selling.
Well, do I need?
That's the numbers say right here. Okay. Every listener needs to double down on it. So go ahead and put your orders in. Get over to the Patreon.
Let me get the ad copy here. Have you found yourself becoming overly sick from a body switching Freaky Friday situation? Or have you developed a resistance to Ipecac, or are you suffering right now? And once again, becoming hypokalemic. If one of those things is the thing, then you should order the banana thing, and it's 2 bananas for half a banana. So that's the ad copy.
There's so for half in half of so in half
twice
of
is
banana,
so many and half.
There's 2 bananas, which is really 4 times the banana.
And if you're gonna have but then it is half though. Also,
because you have this size. It's the 2 bananas, but it's 4 times the banana because it's half the size of the 1 banana.
Yeah. Now,
I think that's it. And we have a few other questions here from listeners asking advice for what to do when you find out your partner is over 300 years old. And Dr. London, this is something I know you have experienced with.
Yeah. Can I say, like, age is just a number. People are like, oh, you date either too young or too old. It's like, I think it's love. But yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Unknowingly, I'll say, date someone who was over 300 years old. I was in Egypt, and I was trying to climb the pyramids, and then like just one of them moved over, and she said, "Hey, what's up?" from inside the pyramid, and I was like,
"Oh, one of them?"
Yeah, I don't know. There's a few people hanging out in there, but she was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And I was like, not much. It looks kind of shady in there, and so so was the question, is that bad? Because we kind of got it on.
Just general advice, just what to do when you find out your partner's over 300 years old. I guess you're saying just play it chill.
Be cool.
And don't freak out.
Yeah, because okay.
Yeah. Well, and what was always you were going through whatever at the time, and I remember this woman. And you'd bring her by, but every time you'd bring her by, I guess she would change back into a pile of bones. I only ever saw a pile of bones that you were carrying around.
Oh, you missed.
But you said, oh, no, we were playing tennis earlier. We were doing all of these things. And I'm sure that was really fun. But we would be like out to dinner. You'd just be sort of laughing with the pile of bones.
Okay, I think part of it might have been, so we were in a certain phase of our relationship where she didn't have enough human sacrifices to sort of come here in the physical form so much. And I realize that you are a very superficial person and that maybe you don't see, like all you're looking for is sort of that beach bod, that bikini body.
Yeah. TNA.
Yeah.
TNA.
And in this case, whenever I did have relations with this mummy woman,
kind of pile of bones.
I'll say she didn't have a lot on the inside at the time, and that was understood. And so that's my advice. If you're dating someone like that, just understand that they're going to come from a different time, different understanding, and their comprehension of what a relationship even is might be different from yours. So do bear that in mind whenever they suck you into the pyramids and entice you into being a slave of the gods and send you on little errands to get this artifact or that one from the various corners of the world.
And that Sphinx riddle. Bitch,
oh man. Well, just and I hate to, so
it's barely even a riddle, by the way, just because it's
the speech impediment.
There's it's three part of it's like 3 legs, but it's like one of the legs is a cane because you're talking about an old man. It's like that's not how riddles work. You're just kind of making shit up.
Yeah, I thought it was. I got really annoyed because okay, so the Sphinx and I, we had a fling, and I tried bringing this up one time, because it was one of these things you don't want to ask about the person about their work, especially if it's creative work, unless you really compliment sandwich that thing. So I was trying to say your riddles are great, though there was this thing with the cane, and then I say it was a great experience even to be asked the riddles, and the Sphinx was got really sensitive about it, really sensitive.
I mean, you're the one lying to them about it. It's a shitty riddle. Get rid of it.
It's one of these. So when I told her this, she took off her reading glasses. She said, look, I don't tell you how to do your job. I can tell you I've been doing this job for a long time, and it's harder than it looks. I put on this uniform every day. I get to it. And right now we're unionizing. We're trying to find a way to get these asking riddles to be sort of a more fair process, a more equitable process, but it just isn't there yet, and we're dealing with that imperfect world right now. So
and she said all of that with her reading glasses off? Wow.
Hold on. She did. I'm realizing she did put it back on after a little bit because she was reading off a speech she had written.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a monologue. Anyways, that's my advice for that, for 300-year-olds and sphinxes.
Dr. London, now is time for everyone's favorite segment. Every single year on the annual Valentine's Day special, we update everyone on the love news. This is all of the love that's happening in the news and new updates.
Very exciting here. We have, meteorologist John Krankenston. He got married, but it was off camera. This one was off camera, so we don't have photo evidence of it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't even know this.
No,
person.
me neither.
God, this newspaper is huge.
Yeah.
Okay. Scientists discover a new form of love. Okay, that's pretty interesting.
But no.
This is called horny love. This is a brand new kind of love, and it's not just hearts, but it's also sort of like butts.
I'm not sorry. Could which section is that in the comics? I'm looking for that part of the paper.
This is on page 1300.
Okay, this is past the.
Which is
okay, I'm seeing misconnections. A lot of misconnections. Most of this thing is misconnections, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you're right. Okay, scientists did discover a new form of love. They haven't figured out how to use it yet, but they are trying to weaponize it. So, look forward to that.
Hopefully against the homeless.
Just as simple and because people try to twist it into some awful thing, we're going to use this thing that's generally for good and just use it to hurt someone who's already suffering. But, Valentine's Day.
Well, and if you think about it, you're helping your own life.
That's true. It makes your life slightly easier, if only based on what you're looking at a given moment. So,
yeah.
You don't have to look at something difficult. So,
I think that's it in the love news.
Okay, I do have one. Okay, this did actually make news. So my parents got parent trapped 60 years ago. as you may remember. And now they are wanting to get renew their vows, but they do need it to be through a parent trapping again. So, for those who don't,
so they need to split up and then have their twins switch places.
Yeah. And so we have, twins have to switch places, have to get them both together, and they both have to not want to be together, and then they get together and hit it off and then get married. So that's sort of the conundrum we're in right now. We're trying to figure out a way to do this, but the parents do love each other very much. So,
well, in the copyright situation alone, like Disney's going to come for your head, but that's just part of it, I guess.
I mean, honestly, when it comes to Valentine's Day, Disney's always after me.
That is true. The kind of Mickey Mouse merch you sell around Valentine's Day is disgusting and is definitely libelous.
And I keep saying it's not sexual. It's not. It's natural.
I don't think the sexuality is anyone's concerns.
Okay.
It's the racial terms used. It's sort of the graphics used.
I wish you had been in court with me that day. Man, I wish you'd been in court with me that day. If that was all.
Why?
They did not believe me on the sex stuff. But well, I feel like we covered almost everything.
Yeah, do we want to talk about new kissing techniques for 2025?
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess first, have you tried any new ones? Any new techniques? Okay.
I have. I've got a new one where before you lean in for the kiss, you take the biggest breath you can. You go, and then while you're kissing, you go,
like a fish?
Kind of like a fish. You're going,
okay.
As you sort of breathe, you're forcing carbon dioxide down.
Well, it's hyperbaric.
Throat.
It's hyperbaric is what it is, which is a form of therapy, actually.
It's a huge form of therapy to breathe in carbon dioxide. Put a hose in your car
to increase the pressure
in your exhaust pipe, and just kind of put that in turn your car on in your garage. People is what I'm trying to say.
Which is the same. I can see where you're drawing the line. The comparison of kissing someone and blowing a little bit of air into their mouths is maybe not equivalent, but equitable to, say, putting someone's a hose to a gas and then breathing that air.
The way I do it? Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, and then for me, I've been trying this new technique where I bite their nose and just hold on.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's so they don't run away, because a lot of them
really run away.
Trying to
they
flee.
Still try, and it's actually a little bit harder this way.
Well, it's counterintuitive a bit, because the only reason they're trying to flee is because you bit their nose. They were leaning in for a kiss too. It seemed mutual.
It felt mutual.
But then the second you bite their nose, they're of course trying to leave.
Yeah. Okay. So you notice this as well, because it's weird. It happens every time.
Yeah. I think maybe try something new. Maybe bite the cheek or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I don't know.
Or the
you
brow.
Think if I get a grill, you think if I got a grill on my teeth?
I think the new thing is getting diamonds on your teeth. You get a stud just on the teeth.
And then bite their nose once again. And it'll be this. I go to clubs for this kind of stuff. I go out and things are getting kind of crazy. We're all snorting.
You're partying.
Snorting this, chugging that. And then, of course, I bite their nose. And I growl, and we're kind of edging towards the door but they do not want to be a part of it. They're like, ow, 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 ow. Super funny, a lot of blood. And that's...
Oh, it's a funny
Yeah,
prank.
that's Valentine's Day for me. Sorry.
I love playing pranks on Valentine's Day. I do want to mention, I've only heard rumors of this, but I've heard about a new kiss that is digital kissing. Apparently, I don't know how to do this, but there's a way for your computer, I guess through AI, to draw a little, like a face that's doing like a little kissy face. And this is something that, from what I understand, predators use, sexual sort of deviants.
And when you say predators,
so be on the lookout for that. Yeah, I'm talking about like the invisible, things with dreads. Okay,
just making sure. Dreadlocks. And whenever anyone thinks of any predator, they're gonna think of something with dreadlocks.
Something that's invisible and something that fights
and Arnold
aliens.
Schwarzenegger,
the xenomorph sometimes, I guess.
So, and that's it. I feel like we've covered just about everything for the Valentine's Day Spectacular. I'll say going home this week, because we know this doesn't release actually on the day. This is sort of a prepping episode. So please, whenever you go out, don't try to drive the cars, because that's actually the most dangerous thing to do in America. Don't try to drive a car. Try to compliment someone, but not that hard. And I think that's it. Anything else?
Yeah. Don't try to drive your car without putting like 6 back first.
Okay.
Because like 6 beers in is when I drive my best, like my safest. That's when I really feel comfortable on the road. We've talked about this a lot on the podcast.
Yeah.
And so 6 might not be for everyone. Maybe it's 8 or 10 for you or whatever. But get yourself into that zone, because yes, driving a car is nerve wracking. You're controlling basically a ship.
Yeah, and by the way,
going 100
not
miles
just
an
nerve
hour.
Wrecking,
lights
it's
off.
wrecking everything in its path. If you're the one driving.
Oh yeah, my wife's mailbox, like all sorts of stuff.
Which, can I say, having been around someone like that, like it is pretty scary to be like in the house when it's happening. So good on you. Like you've been doing a good job freaking out that weird ex of yours.
Yeah, because when I'm six deep, I'm pretty good to drive. So, I think we're good.
All right, well, thank you so much to our producer, Cameron. Thank you to Digital in the House. Digital in the House.